Well, hello, and hope you're all doing well on this Monday lunchtime. And today it's the Tony McClellan Show, as with every other week, and always talking about social impact, justice, and mobility. You know, if you watch this on a regular basis, that I'm a champion of DEIB, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, compassion, and sustainable change within organizations. And every so often, you know, I bring a guest on here and we have a topical discussion or an exploration about a particular subject. But for all of you also that know that I bring all of my learning at the sharp end, 360 degrees, to bring back to those social entrepreneurs that are starting out in business and startups. So we all started somewhere. So I try to bring some of that back as well and hopefully bring some value to you. And this week is no different because I have a fabulous guest, April Patterson, who has been here before. How are you, April?
I'm doing well. Hello, Tony. It's so good to see you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you're here today in a different capacity because I want you to share some of your experiences of, you know, supporting these organizations as not only an executive assistant, but since you started your business, how's it going and everything. And April is somebody who I've worked with previously over I think it was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? 2-3 years ago?
It was about 3 years ago, probably exactly, because my business is 3 years old this year.
So. Wow, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Third birthday. So before we get into it, April, let's just say hi to a couple of people. So if you are here joining, then do get those questions ready. And I'll give you a shout out as well. So Carlene, thank you. Let us know where you are joining us from as well. So thank you so much, Carlene. We've got Marcia, a regular here. Thank you so much for being so committed to us here and tuning in from Washington, DC.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining.
And we also have Abdul as well, who is joining us. Let us know where you are joining us from, Abdul. So I can see that there's a few others. Maybe they're a little bit shy, Marcia, April, but let's see if they come and ask a question very shortly.
Love it.
So we've got Joanne Hunter as well from Indiana, and is joining us. Thank you, Joanne.
Hello, Joanne.
Okay. So April, just a little snippet. Just tell us what it is that you do, because I know that you were an executive assistant to some people in the public eye, you know, for a very long time.
Yes.
And you then decided after years to, and you worked with some very well established organizations as well. So then you went on to set your own business up, you know, supporting other executive assistants and businesses. So why don't you just do a little intro and tell us about just a little snippet of what it is that you do?
Oh, thank you so much. So let's see. My name is April Patterson, and I'm the owner of ADP Virtual Assistant. And as Tony has mentioned, I have worked in the corporate sector for about 25 years or more, providing executive support to C-level executives for Fortune 500 organizations. And so In April of 2020, I pivoted and decided to launch my own firm. So I went from being an executive assistant to now a CEO of ADP Virtual Assistant. And what the services that I provide are the traditional executive support services, but also I am a business strategy partner many times working with my clients. They bring me in to assist with various capacities, whether it be, working within the HR capacity or accounts payable, or just helping them structure their operations so that it runs smoothly. And so working in the corporate field, I brought over so much experience from being able to do that in an EA role to now providing those services. And I've been having the time of my life doing that.
And you look like you're having the time of your life too. So
Yeah.
that's great. So 3 years now that you've,
3 years.
and so you're 3 more years wiser as well.
Yes.
I'm hoping in just a moment that you can share some
Yes.
of the wisdom with us. So if you are listening in here now, let me know, what stage are you at in your business? Have you already started? Are you thinking about starting? If there's a particular difficulty and you're happy to share publicly, then do drop it in. We'll see how we can help you, because that is what we're going to be doing over the next 30 minutes. So make the most of the time, and we'll see what we can do in terms of sharing some of our wisdom with you. So April, I'm going to just start off by, because I've been supporting social entrepreneurs like yourself, for so many years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been on the other side of the fence or the table,
Right.
in terms of administering funds, prioritizing what services we want to bring in. So just kind of having that understanding, especially my specialist area is social impact, justice, mobility, so disadvantaged groups. So just really having that understanding of where the gaps are, how to get in. I've helped so many entrepreneurs to get into those organizations, but I want to hear from you in terms of, why did you want to start your own business?
It was, I had hit the height of my career as an EA, because I am a career EA. And EA, for some of you, that's an executive assistant. And so I really had just figured out, I don't necessarily want to manage people, because it's one thing to manage an executive. The next step would be to manage a team of other EAs.
And I think that before you move on, it's worth clarifying the difference between a PA and an EA, because you're managing projects, potentially people,
Yes.
or a team of administrators. So if you can just elaborate a little bit so that people that are listening know the difference between PA and EA.
Right. Okay. So, all right. So the difference between an EA is an EA is an executive assistant. And what that means is you have a C-level, whether it's a COO, the CEO, CTO, chief people officer, those individuals, they have their own assistant. And that particular assistant will support exclusively that C-level executive. So essentially, I was managing the life of a CEO. Anything from their calendar to assisting them with working with their direct reports. Perhaps they have, organizational, operational tactics that they need to deliver, or to make sure that their team is on task. So assisting that CEO, basically leveraging that C-level executive to be their best self.
Absolutely. And sometimes what it meant was that what EA means is that you're also managing the individual PAs as well of the other C-suite members, and doing more project management tasks as well. So, there's a real difference, and I wanted to make sure that you kind of elaborated on that. But let's go back to why you started your business, and then we're going to get down into some of the pitfalls.
Right. So I started my business because I had hit the height of my career, and I just thought it's time to pivot. I had been thinking for about 3 years prior to that, I really want to enter into the consultancy space, providing the services that I provide in the corporate world, but really just creating my own platform and, quite frankly, to have more freedom. Like that is, really it in a nutshell, being able to just have the flexibility to work and travel and do the things that I love and also earn a living at that. And so, launching my business absolutely gave me that flexibility to be able to do so. And I will say, there was some level of anxiety around breaking away from the stability of having, a regular 9 to 5, you getting paid every week or every other week, to now you have to go out and fish and bring home the fish. So,
well, I think, to be honest with you, let's start there, because ultimately that's one of the pitfalls that I've seen. Because because you've got that 9 to 5, and what happens is that you start it off as a little passion project, or people call it side hustle. I'm not too keen on the word side hustle,
right.
because but the thing is that once it is a side hustle, it kind of remains there all the time, because it's not getting your full attention, because you have your main job that you're doing. So really, you need to have a plan in place to replace that and move it forward. Yes. Otherwise, it remains as a side hustle, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It totally does, Tony. And you hit the nail on the head. I'm not, and people are out there and they have the side hustle, but you're absolutely right. Unless you absolutely position yourself to break away from the stability of working for someone else, and then exclusively working for yourself, you're going to always be in that position to have a side hustle. And that is where the importance of actually planning it comes into play. Planning,
well, that's right, because what you need to do is you need to think about, how can I make this side hustle secure enough for me?
Right.
And that's the thinking that doesn't really happen.
Happen.
Like, I need the security of a job, so I've got bills to pay, but actually, how can I make this side hustle? So
and it's almost like the Nike slogan, "Just do it." Like, quite honestly, it's almost like when you start starting a family, no one is really actually prepared to start a family. You start having children and you just kind of end up doing it. I really am a fan of, put systems in place, figure out exactly what it is that you want to do, and then actually do it. There are going to be challenges in everything that we do.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Thank you so much, April. So we've got Joanne that is just giving the hands up there. Thank you so much, Joanne. And we've got Marcia that's saying side hustling for now, but not quite there. And that's great. We know your journey, Marcia. Well, I sure do. And you are moving things along nicely. So keep going. Absolutely keep going. And so that's the first thing. So what is it that you kind of see, as regular themes that come through, April, in the industry that you work in? What types of businesses are you working in?
So let's see. I have a client that is an HR consulting. I do definitely work with nonprofits. So my business supports industry-wide, trucking industry. There are some sales individuals that I have in my camp. And let's see, I think at this point last year, I was supporting a couple of celebrities. So you name it, I run the gamut. And that's, I think, the beautiful thing about the services that I can offer. It was important, I think, when you and I started working together. Well, April, who is your customer, right? You would ask me that often. And being a new entrepreneur, I didn't know that. So that was one of the things that I think really helped me early on, was determining who the client is and who. And so I was able to identify who those people are. And I would say in my client base today, what I am noticing is that some of my clients, they don't know who their customer really is, who can benefit from your services. And so I've had them to ask me, can you help me identify how to structure my business so that I can understand who my customer is, who my client is, and then structure it so that I can leverage my business to be successful.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of come at it from this perspective before we bring some thoughts in. And I'm going to think about it from a perspective of who can you best help? Now, when I was starting in my business, you know, I've been in criminal justice, specialist education, you know, I've been a principal of special educational needs school, I've been involved in social care. All of them are around vulnerable groups.
Yes.
Some of them public sector, but vulnerable groups. So for me, because that's been the majority of my experience in those spaces, leading those services, it made sense that I am supporting businesses in those areas.
Right.
I know it, I've led it on one side, and now I'm doing it the other side. So for me, that was really quite clear. And I think one of the things that needs to happen is people need to really understand what their purpose is, because they chase something else that's over in a different direction. I'm going to look for a new client to sit. Well, actually, who can you best help? If you've been in an industry for X amount of time, then maybe that's the industry you need to start in because you know it real well. Okay, so just thinking like that is a great starting point. So let's bring some of these comments in, April.
Okay. Yeah? Yes.
So we've got one, I think, is I'm not sure who this is. Tracy Daniels. Great side hustling gives you time to plan as well as figure out if this is really what you want to do. Absolutely. And if it's the right thing to do, if it's something that is going to serve your purpose and bringing the necessary funds as well.
And Tracy, hi Tracy, thanks for joining. That's actually a client of mine. So that's awesome. Yes.
That's great. Well done. So we've got Joanne who's saying, I started my business, but I don't know if my field is viable. So I need to find a viable service product in my field. And yes, also knowing who my customer is. This is where you need to do a client avatar.
Right.
About who best can serve, who best can you serve, who best can you give an impact to.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, there's lots of people that you can help in different areas.
Right.
But who can you help the best?
But who can you help the best? And where can you, and how do you actually add value to that organization, right? Because I think that for me, you know, I started in a space where I know that I can be a rock star of an executive assistant, right? But I also knew that I've been, I've assisted with business strategies, helping streamlining operations. And so it is my job to be able to understand how to fill the gaps, understand how to identify the blind spots, right? And I think that.
So for example, I'm going to ask you, April, for example, all of your experience, what industry has it been in? Your main experience where you've worked with these top companies?
I would say really in the operational HR space.
Okay.
I've landed in that space, and it's, it's not intentional.
Organizations that employed you?
Yes.
That you were employed by. So really, this is kind of like where a lot of your experience is as well, isn't it?
Yes, because you know why? I think I thrive in the space of creating great cultures. I really do care about the people. And so what happens is oftentimes a CEO will bring me on to assist them with their day-to-day. And then through just interacting and working with me, then they find that the value that I can also add is helping them streamlining some of their, processes, whether it's working with, assisting with training material or HR generalization.
I think also just in line with what Joanne was saying as well, really, because one of the things, even when I was younger, I saw all my friends, they were leaving school, they all wanted to be a secretary. I was like, I don't want to be a damn secretary. I'm going to keep my options open. So I got a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this and everything, so that I had choice.
Yes.
But even though I thought it was a good thing at the time, what it done is it made me kind of like a jack of all trades. I could do lots of different things and go in lots of different directions. And it took me a few years to work out really where I wanted to go.
Right.
So for me, one of the things I would say around, new startups is, really, you don't have to niche, but just be kind of really clear about who the client is, or at least the industry that you can best do your work in. So that's kind of like you said, HR is kind of like your thing, although you can do
happened to be that. It has happened to be that. And I think that it's because I really am a very, it's the way that I flow. Like I'm structured. So for me, it just made sense because I am a structured individual. So for me to be brought on board to structure whatever it is, whether it's a large event that the client wants to, plan, then that's me. I'm the structure guru.
But you're also trusted as well, aren't you? And this is the main thing. So let's kind of come back to some of these comments. We've got Marcia who's saying, if you need business help, don't delay, contact Tony McClelland today. Oh, that's
absolutely
like a little rhyme. I didn't actually pay Marcia, but I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
It's true.
And Joanne saying, I have an early learning company. That's absolutely great. I'm a full-time assistant librarian as well.
Wow.
So really just kind of thinking about, I refer lots of people to the Ikigai as well. And the Ikigai is about, what you love, what you're really good at. What does the world need right now? Does the world need your service? And what you can be paid for. And when you've done that kind of exercise, that will help you get nearer towards your purpose. So let's just start thinking about some other areas, April. So I think niching down is one thing, being a little bit, and I think that what happens is people want to do all these different things, and casting your net too wide doesn't necessarily help. You have to be patient, you have to be confident in what it is that you're doing, and be really good at it. That's the main thing. Be damn good at it.
Well, yeah, you definitely do need to be good at it, but you also need to put a strong structure in place. When I met you, right, I was very new. And it was, I had launched my business, but I was in the thought process of, I needed to define a budget. I needed to brand. Branding is super important. But brand positioning, I think, you were like one of the first people that said, you got to get that email to be, April at your business name. Because I think initially I was adp@gmail.com, which branding is important.
I think, and that's a part of it. And it's something that it's a Tony-ism, I call it. It's just something I feel really, really strongly about. And one of the reasons as well why that resonates with me is because I was supporting somebody who was an administrative assistant. We were at a networking event. I brought her to, and she gave her business card to somebody, and it said blah 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 @gmail.com. And these two people, she went off to get coffee, and these two people were actually laughing and saying, "Oh, she hasn't even invested in her business." And I thought that was a bit awful. But it really resonated that these are the things that people are looking at. Have you invested in your business, or are you at hotmail.com? Now, it doesn't stop you from doing a great job.
Right.
But don't let it stop you at the entry point of, being able to entice a client or warm somebody up, or, let somebody see you in favor. So it's just little things like that. But that's a Tony-ism.
It really is true. Because you know what? If you want people to take you seriously, in terms of being a business owner, and people are judgmental. Let's just face it, and so people are judgmental. And so it's just important that you do the little things, the small things like that can absolutely help you as, you continue to establish your business, but also understand what your budget is, your marketing budget, supplies, if you need that. Like, set yourself up to be successful, identifying exactly what is it going to cost.
I think the thing about it is you're right about the marketing budget, but you're also right about the fact, because you actually invested in me, didn't you? We worked together.
We did.
And I think that's one of the keys, that that people need to invest and bring in somebody like you or
Mhm.
myself as a mentor or a coach or anybody that
Right.
is really in a position to help them and
Yes.
assist them with what it is that they need.
Yes.
And I think what happens is that people try to market on a zero budget. They try to get free help on a zero budget, end up getting lots of little, snippets from lots of different people and end up confused. When
Right.
actually you really do need, it goes back to what you were saying, April, a plan.
You need a
Yeah?
plan. You
A
have to
plan.
have a plan. And then you want to identify what sort of culture you want to create within your organization. I think you
Okay.
asked me one of the things that I noticed with my clients. I have a couple of clients who they understand that cultivating a healthy environment is important and it's key for running any successful organization. But then if you do not focus on, how to create a culture that is healthy for your staff or the members that you're working with, then that could be the demise of your business.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've only got, can you believe it? We've only got about 4 or 5 minutes
Can't
left.
believe it.
And we've only just got warmed up. Can you believe it? So I'm going to put it out there. Anyone that's watching now, if you have a question, then please just drop it in the chat. We'll try and address it. But I'll just move through really, really quickly on just a couple of other points that we want to kind of get in there. And I know, one of the things, especially in the UK, thinking about, especially as a social entrepreneur, thinking about the setup of your business. Are you going to be a limited company where you can make some profit? Are you going to be a CIC, a community interest organization, or a charity CIO? What is the status of your company? Because that will affect how you operate, the money you can bring in, the profit you can make, where the profit has to go, if you can apply for funding. It affects so much. So that's one of the main things. Set up or get some advice about how to set up in the right area. So I don't know. It's LLC in the US, isn't it, April?
It is an LLC, yes. I am in the US, guys. Yes, I am.
So that's great. And we have Stefania. Welcome, Stefania. Long time. It's been a little while that you've joined me here, but yes, this will be recorded and you'll be able to replay it as well. So thank you, Stefania. So that was one of the things, understanding some of the terminology. There's lots of terminology: revenue, business plan, business
forecasting,
cash flow,
right?
Projections. Just
Projections.
trying to understand, but what, you don't have to be a master of all of this, because even now I have an HR person, I have a finance person. If I go into a big meeting, I bring the relevant person in.
That's exactly right.
That's their job. They understand it. If I say to them, do you understand it? You happy? And they say yes. If they're happy, I'm happy.
Right.
So that is about trust. You've got to trust other people.
You've got to trust other people, Tony. And this is this brings me to a point of stating, you hear about people saying, I have a team. Today's business model does not necessarily mean that a team consists of individuals that are W-2. I don't know how it is in the States there, but it consists of a team of consultants that are experts in a certain piece of the business. So for instance, I have a team, but I don't necessarily have employees, right? So it's financially beneficial for me to hire other consultants to fill the gap in spaces where I may not be an expert. So
that's right. And that's the main thing, to understand your own strength. And one of the things I'm going to say is there's a difference between being really good at a skill, being really good at business,
right,
and being really good at managing a team.
Right.
Okay. So they are 3 separate pieces. And I can remember once getting a phone call from somebody who was going into liquidation, panicking. Can you come and see me today, please? And I dropped everything and I went and saw him. And, we had a conversation. I needed to calm him. But really, what I established very quickly was that he was really good at what he was doing in terms of selling the product, selling the service, going out and getting the contracts. What he wasn't so great at doing was managing people. The team were taking advantage of him. They were doing things. He wasn't taking action quickly enough if there were complaints coming in. And so, this is where I said to him that that's where you kind of went wrong a little bit. So what you need to do is move away from this business, go and get a role for a little while somewhere until things settle down. And then maybe there'll be an opportunity for you to start. So be really, really clear about what your strengths are or what it is that you like doing. I'm really great at some things, for example, April, but it doesn't mean that I like doing them.
Right.
So,
that's so true.
This is the thing. But, because you know that you're good at it, you kind of fall into it. So these are a couple of the things that we need to be thinking about. But you'll be pleased to know, everyone that's listening here, April and I have decided to do a part 2 next week. Okay, so lucky for you.
Yes.
So right, okay, no one can advise on this setup in London. I'm not sure what that's in relation to, Stefania. I can maybe reach out and help you. So we've got Paul, who's here, just a quick visit. Hope all well, since had Monday lunchtime free. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Paul. And I know that the times have been clashing a little bit lately, but it's really good to have you join. And Joanne saying that looking forward to it on Monday as well. So we are actually going to wrap here now. April and I will be back next Monday at the same time with a part 2, because we've only covered, can you believe it? A small piece, but I've also got an audio room on Friday. If anyone's interested in the audio room, it's at 2:00 British summertime on Friday the 14th. And I'm going to be taking questions and answers around startups. So that's the time where you can come, look at it on my events and bring those questions, and I'll see what I can do. So, yes, I think anything that you want to say to wrap up?
No, I think that you know what? It's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been great having this time with you, and I look forward to Monday.
Thank you so much. And if you had a question, then still continue to pop it in the chat. And Paul, I'll come back to your 3-year rule. Maybe we'll address that next week as well. And on that note, I just want to say thank you to everybody who participated today, especially you, April. But I want to say thank you to Vipin. We've got Caroline, Abdul, Marcia, Joanne, Tracy, all of you that have joined from LinkedIn as well. I know that the majority of you are from LinkedIn. Paul and Stefania and Caroline, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really and Caroline is saying that this has been amazing. Where have you been? So pleased to have found you. And we are pleased to have found you.
Yes.
So on the 14th, Stefania, yes, it's Friday, the 14th at 2:00. And we've got Valerie Green, who's just joined. Join us back on Friday or Monday. We'll be here.
We'll be here.
And we'll see how we can help you. And thank you so much to everybody. And on that note, I just want to wrap by saying that there were some real key points that we covered today. And that was how to register your business in the UK, CIO Limited, understanding business plan and model and the terminology, with some of the things that we touched on, niching down a little bit. That was an area that we spent a few moments on as well. Understanding your purpose. Who can you most have impact with? Take time, ask yourself these questions, and you'll be going in the right direction.
Yes.
Okay.
And structure.
Thank you so much, April, for joining me, and stay right there. And I'm going to play you out. And
All right, bye.
Thank you for spending time with me and my guest today on Critical Reflections with your critical friend. Today, you got just a very, very small sprinkling of Tony's fairy dust. But if you'd like more, then do reach out for speaking or hosting. It's TonyMcClelland.com. For social impact, social justice, or social mobility, check out our work at firstlifegroup.com. I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, feel encouraged Be inspired, be empowered, and make a difference. Bye for now.